Greetings, everyone. Today's topic is never look back. And I'm going to extend that by saying stay focused, move forward, and stay connected to the light. If you take that principle and you adapt it to your life, you can't fail. And you don't have to worry about what you cannot change. Now I'm going to share stories in this. We're on the spiritual path, and there are a lot of persons who need these kinds of message, and I'm going to give them to you. Now I'm going to share stories of my own, and hopefully they'll inspire you on your journey. And I'm here to say that when it comes to spirituality, that is my main focus. That is where I gain my inspiration. That is where I feel grounded. That's where I'm happiest. I'm most excited. But it's not always very easy to find someone to share these things because people get tired of these kinds of conversation. Not me. Okay? Now I'm going to show you why I believe that there is a spiritual guide and protection around me since my infancy, but that has extended itself to my children. And so I don't wait for people to love me. I really can love myself because I have a love that is supernatural. I have guides that protect me, that keep me, that wants the best for me. And so when people don't want the best for me, it doesn't really matter. Yes, as a human being, I might feel a way about it, but at the end of the day, I'm always reminded that I am the one that comforts you. I'm the one that protects you and guide you and will keep you and teach you. And that is what matters. Now, let me start with this story. My first child was about 8 years old, and we had moved far away from where we were living just for safety. And so I was starting over, and a friend of mine was moving, and she offered to give me or sell me, I can't remember. But anyway, I was acquiring a glass table for her. Prior to that, I never wanted a glass table. Always had it in my spirit that I shouldn't because I had this small child at home. But it was so beautiful, so I accepted it. And the day it got delivered to my home, my then 8-year-old daughter was playing in the living room, and she crashed in the glass table. And when you look at it, it became like just splinters. The entire table, glass top that is, was splintered into tiny pieces. When I saw her lying there, I was terrified to go over her, to move her. I was thinking the worst. She was just wearing a little shorts, her legs exposed, her arms exposed, and she was lying on tiny pieces of glass that she crashed into. You know, of course, as a mom, I run over and to pull her up. And when I was picking her up, I'm expecting to see the worst. And when I lifted her from between her legs, just imagine, because the top of the glass was very thick, a sharp piece about 12 inches long was standing right there between her legs. And when I picked her up and I'm getting ready to call 911, when I looked on her body, not a scratch, not one scar, not a piece of glass stuck to her skin anywhere. To this day, I am still overwhelmed, still thinking to myself, how could that be? That is divine protection. Now, let's examine this other experience. I was visiting a church. And after going there for a few weeks, I started having these dreams. First dream, I was in their basement and I was going to the area where they have coffee. And every time I go to find sugar, when I opened the sugar, it was filled with feces. And when I woke from that dream, I found it so disturbing. And I talk about that back-to-back dream where you should pay attention. Well, I went back again, and a second time, I'm going to get tea in the basement, and there was the same thing in the sugar. And then the third one came where I was in the church. And when I was in there, while the praise and worship was happening, I looked in the ceiling, and on the chandelier, it was filled with, you know what, dripping from the ceiling. It was so disturbing that I went to see the pastor. And when I told him, he was very silent at first. And then he said, I'm going to tell you something that happened here before you started visiting this church. And I think that is what the spirits are trying to reveal to you. But he took no heed. He knew that was a message straight from the Most High. But he didn't heed the warning. He said he recognized what the message was. He saw some things that he was involved in. And I was sent as a messenger. I really love that man. The unfortunate thing about it is he has been in a coma for the last at least 4 years. 4 years in a coma. And I pray for him. I really would love to see that miraculous change. I'd love to see him come back and stand up there and speak to the people in a real way. Because there's a lot of persons who are waiting for a message that is going to resonate with them. Not the same yelling and screaming from that pulpit, but tell people the truth and lead people to that deeper understanding. So my aim and my goal is not to regurgitate stories of the past, even though some of the history is something that we have to go back and examine, but to teach people how to really connect with spirit, how to truly understand who we are as individuals, ambassadors out here representing the Most High. We have a calling on our life. I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday, a young friend of mine, and I said, if we ever knew our purpose and that we are created for purpose, and while we're here until we fulfill that purpose, we're not going anywhere. And when we are able to go out there like foot soldiers out in the field, not working for man, but that prophecy can be fulfilled through our work, then until you position yourself and your mind in that place, you can't be great. And your greatness doesn't come from another person putting that on you. It's to understand your relationship with the Most High. Understand who you are, understanding your purpose, and you can spend many years knowing that there is something that you're here to do, but you don't know what it is until finally you start walking in that purpose without even realizing. So when these things happen in your life, remember who you are and who you're here to represent, and stop giving man too much credit. We pay attention to people too much, in terms of, people we consider to be great and considered to be leaders and considered, to be powerful, when these ones, they're so weak. They're driven by money and greed and, the need for worship. I'm not worshiping none of these ones. None of them get no respect from me, because respect and honor goes to the Most High. Yeah. But I'm here for a purpose. and I'm here to teach what I learn. I've always been that type of person. Whatever I learn, I like to pass it on. But I am not throwing, my pearls before swines anymore. I'm not giving it to persons who just want to hear it just for the sake of hearing, and then they just defecate all over it. I can't have that anymore. In this time, I have to feel this or test the spirits within people to see if they're serious and they really want to know. Because sometimes it's curiosity and sometimes it's just to mock you. And people fail to understand that when these messages come, some of them have a long shelf life and you have to be patient to see the manifestation of them. But yes, these two stories that I've shared with you are the reasons why I stay grounded, the reasons why I don't look back. I never look back anymore. I look forward because I know that I'm here for purpose. And I know that the Most High does his work or their work as we speak about not just a man, but we talk about energies. Energies is what I'm working with and understanding that. Stay blessed, everybody.